Hi, everyone. It's Denise Brown from the Caregiving Years Training Academy. Thanks to those who are joining me live. Thanks to those who are watching the recording. We're going to talk about the training programs I've developed, and I'm happy to answer questions about these training programs and how they might fit in your goals for your work with family caregivers and former family caregivers. So here we go. Let's start. Okay. So there's two main programs that help you start a small business to serve family caregivers. We'll start with a little bit of an overview about those, and then we'll move into other programs that can help you as a volunteer, if you'd like, in reaching family caregivers in your community. So we have two coaching programs. One is called a Certified Caregiving Consultant, and the other is the Comfort Care Family Coach. And these training programs help you consult and coach with family caregivers. Our CCC program, the Caregiving Consultants program, arms you with insights and tools and strategies to support a family caregiver regardless of where they are. So I developed a concept in 1997 that stages the family caregiver experience. For CCCs, they help family caregivers regardless of what stage they're in. For the Comfort Care Family Coaches, they get very specific about starting to support family caregivers once a caree starts palliative care, and then continue to support that family caregiver when hospice starts for a caree, and then into life after caregiving ends. And I think this question, how can I be with you, really informs our work as consultants and coaches. Our role is to be with the family caregiver, regardless of where they are. So we're this steadfast support, really being curious about what the family caregiver is experiencing so that we can really personalize the support that we provide for them. And then our specialists help with organizing tasks. I think of our specialists as virtual personal assistants. And the question that informs their work is, what can I do for you? It's this idea that the specialists take on tasks like scheduling appointments, organizing paperwork, creating menus. It's about taking on tasks. It's about saving the family caregiver time and freeing up time for them. So when you're in a caregiving experience, you're running a small business. I've been running a small business for many years. And as a small business owner, I do well when I have a coach and a virtual assistant. And that's really how I structured these programs for family caregivers. They have a coach and a virtual assistant. So people ask me all the time, why become certified? And there's something that's happening in 2024 that could be great opportunities for us. I've been following this closely. I'll share more information as I know more because it can be a game changer. Those who go through our Certified Caregiving Consultant Training Program and our Comfort Care Family Coach program are peer specialists. So these are former family caregivers who have taken their lived experience, complemented it with our training program to go out and support those in a current caregiving situation. Peer support specialists will be reimbursed for providing system navigation services through Medicare starting in 2024. And our programs meet the defining criteria that Medicare has established for peer support specialists. Now, I want to let you know this is all new. I just attended a second webinar about it yesterday, so I'm still gathering a lot of information, but I think it's really powerful that Medicare is looking at who are the professionals who are supporting us and how do we reimburse them for that support. So we think typically about doctors, nurse practitioners, occupational therapists, physical therapists, as those providers who are reimbursed through Medicare. And now it's community health workers and peer support specialists. Our coaching programs will include additional modules so that those graduates who are becoming certified caregiving consultants and comfort care family coaches can also be community health professionals. The term that is typically used is community health workers. I like community health professionals. Okay, so that is new for 2024. It's very exciting. So Medicare does require training and certification for community health workers and peer support specialists. The guidance they give is what I looked into, and RCCs, Cs, and Comfort Family Care coaches receive training that meets the qualifying criteria to be called a peer support specialist. The other piece about becoming certified is that we are now a profession. We have a name, we have a training program. We're accountable because through the training program, there are beliefs and pledges and goals that each of our program graduates commit to honoring. In addition, it separates you from the competition. The other piece about this is that the training really gives you insights into the experience of caregiving that allow you to be this incredible support for family caregivers and former family caregivers. As a group, our training program participants also collaborate with each other. We are not competitors, we are collaborators, and we do events and workshops and podcasts together. So I wanted to give you some insights about what our consultants have done after graduating from our program. So one of our consultants contracts with her county to provide support for direct service workers, including family caregivers. And she's been doing this for a couple of years now. So she has an ongoing contract with her county to provide this support. One of our other CCCs has a contract with an employee benefit that provides elder care services, so she receives referrals from them. We used to do a national caregiving conference. I held it in Chicago from 2016 through 2019. In 2018, we had attendees from the US Virgin Islands join us. They run the caregiver support programs in the Virgin Islands. And so they've hired one of our consultants to provide workshops and to lead support groups. So she provided workshops for them and now is a facilitator for their caregiving support groups. Okay, so we are paid influencers, we are workshop presenters, we are hired by family caregivers. So our consultants have a variety of revenue streams that they rely on. And I really believe that Medicare defining peer support specialists as professionals who deserve reimbursement is going to open up more doors for us. Okay, and then we've been in articles. We are experts who are quoted in articles that are written by reporters. Okay, and I'll share these slides with you so that you have a better feel for what the consultants have been doing. So when I think about my business, I really love creating opportunities, and I feel great when I can help prevent regrets. But I don't want to be a business of one. I want to be a movement of many. And I think about individuals who have gone through my programs as being part of the movement of many. In addition, as someone who has launched and kept a small business going for many years, I know that it's painful. I wish it were easier, but it's painful. You have to face your fears every day. You're putting your work out into the world. And one of the things that I like is that we help each other start a small business and be successful in maintaining that small business. And really, the other piece of the business is because I've been sitting with family caregivers since 1990 and really listening to their experience, I learned how to be with someone during a painful situation. And I teach that in the programs. So we're not about fixing, we're about supporting, being this steadfast presence that offers comfort and validation and words that help us release stress. So we know that a caregiving experience is stressful. We also know that many family caregivers are going it alone. Because of that, I really believe family caregivers want to be understood rather than fixed. So I've had this situation where I have vented about a particular challenge and I've had friends jump in to try to fix it. And I have shared with them, it's not about fixing me because I'm not wrong. It's about understanding why this is so hard. And that's what's so important for family caregivers. There are concepts that I've developed over the years, the 6 caregiving stages, the caregiving fatigues. And that concept looks at compassion fatigue as an umbrella term. We have to get specific about what wears us out. And during our caregiving experience, we get tired of cooperating. We get tired of being gracious with family members who don't get it, but we know we're going to sit across the table from them at Thanksgiving. So we want to just be gracious. We get tired of worrying. We get tired of feeling guilty. We get tired of training when we have a revolving door of home health aides. And then the third concept is that we navigate and manage 17 different caregiving systems. So when you put all of that together, it makes sense that this experience is really difficult. And unless you've been in that experience, you can't understand what it's like to go through those stages, to manage all that wears you out, and to really understand the complexity of system navigation. When we understand that, we can be a partner for a family caregiver. Okay. I want to just kind of go through this a little more quickly than usual because I want to leave time for questions. But I think it's important that we can help family caregivers feel successful, whether it be just in a moment or in a day or through an experience. Because you feel like you're failing during a caregiving experience. And it's important for us to show that a family caregiver is successful because we understand what success can look like during a caregiving experience. We have that perspective. So we have programs that we offer for family caregivers on a regular basis. And many of the programs I offer to family caregivers are also what I teach consultants and coaches to deliver. I test it. I want to make sure that it is valuable before I include it in the training programs. And then I ask individuals who have attended our workshops and our events, would you recommend this? And we are lucky enough to have strong advocates of our programs. And what that means for training program participants is that you can trust that what I teach has been tested and validated, that it makes a difference for family caregivers. Okay, so a little bit about me. So I launched one of the first online caregiving communities in 1996. I sold it in 2020 to focus on training programs. And I have to update this. So I cared for my mom until she died in August of 2022. And I cared for my dad for almost 20 years, and he died in July of 2023. So he died just a few months ago. Something that I think can be a little confusing that I like to make sure that everyone understands. These programs aren't training certified nursing assistants or home health aides. These are not programs about a disease process. I include a little bit about starting a small business in the coaching and specialist programs, but there's plenty of resources available to you locally through your small business association. So what we really are training programs about the personal caregiving experience. What's it like for us during caregiving? What's the impact on us? How do we keep a life during a life of caregiving? So the programs that I've launched help you start a small business or become a volunteer or really turn it into something that works for you so you feel like you are adding meaning to the life of a family caregiver. In the fall of 2022, market research came out that I thought was heartening and disheartening at the same time. Family caregivers want to pay for products or services that help them. And that's one of the questions I regularly get. Well, family caregivers pay for this. Family caregivers will pay for what helps. What's disheartening is that family caregivers still don't know about an organization in their community that can help them, which means that your community needs you. So we're specialists in the practice of family caregiving. Okay, so let's talk about what the programs look like. So if you just want to take a pretty simple course that will take an hour, 2 hours for you to complete, you could look at one of our master classes. And the master classes help you really get an understanding of my perspective, my concepts, my work. So if you're thinking, how do I know her a little bit better? You could look at the master classes. And typically those are $30 for an hour program. Our 6 stages of caregiving masterclass is a 2-hour program, and that costs a little bit more. We also have an advocate training. And this is a 1-hour program. In November, it's free. So I'll be sure to share the link in our chat room before we close today. And if you're watching the recording, I'll include a link in our show notes. The advocate training is 1 hour, and it really positions you to think about what's the impact I want to make? What's the movement to better the caregiving experience I want to lead? So we help you think through what are the words you use to describe your work, and then how do you take that out into the world? We have facilitator training if you want to start a small group or a support group in your community for current family caregivers, for those who are grieving. And then if you're currently employed and you think, you know what, we need something at work, we do have workplace support group training. I added new training programs this year, including a conflict resolution strategist. If you are currently working with family caregivers through a nonprofit organization or a caregiving benefit, this could be an addition you add. We look at how do you help that family caregiver think through how to manage future conflicts and disputes, and then how to manage during a conflict or a dispute, because we know conflicts and disputes during a caregiving experience are very common within the family system. Our caregiving guide training teaches you how to deliver the 6 caregiving stages as a workshop. You deliver it either in person or online, and you go through the training to learn how to deliver this workshop. I started delivering this workshop in 1999, so it's an evidence-based workshop that you know will work and will impact family caregivers positively. Our specialist training, again, is if you want to be a virtual assistant. The Comfort Care Family Coach is the coach that starts when a caree starts palliative care. That's when we start supporting that family caregiver. The consultant training is really around coaching family caregivers throughout the 6 stages, and the educator training helps you elevate the 6 stages workshop and then allows you to train guides in your community. So I have added material and, oh my gosh, really expanded the training program since I first launched the consultant training program in 2016. In 2018, I added caregiving wheels, and here's an example of these. And these wheels, and there's probably about 75 or 80 of them, if you can believe that, become the content for our plans. So if you've ever attended any of our planning sessions around family emergency planning or respite in place planning, you've experienced the wheels. And these are simple conversation starters. When we're overwhelmed, it's hard to think out loud, what do I need? And so these tools help a family caregiver pick a word. Just start with a word and then see where it takes you. Okay, so again, I'll share these slides with you, but you can just rest assured that I've added a lot. When I first launched the consultant training, we were approved for 16 CEUs. And when I updated our CEU application earlier this year, we were approved for 75. So it's a 75-hour program, the bronze level of the consultant training. We have an 8-question assessment that's a wheel that you can use, which actually is a really great way to understand where the family caregiver is, what challenges they have, and what they want to feel better about. So here are the planning tools that are available through the consultant training. Planning tools are also available in our Comfort Care Family Coach training. Our consultant training has 3 levels. The bronze is our lowest level. The silver includes help starting a small business. It also includes our facilitator and educator programs. So it's a package. And then the gold includes all of that, plus additional planning tools, plus time with me to write your book, develop and deliver a CEU approved workshop, and then to add in social media and podcasts. You also are tested at a higher level so that at the end of the program, you are a master caregiving consultant. Okay, so the Comfort Care Family Coach, the guide, the resolution, and the systems navigator. I just added that one. That's available now. And it's supporting family caregivers as they navigate those 17 systems. This program I think of as being an add-on to an existing business you might have that supports family caregivers. If you are a life coach who focuses on supporting family caregivers, you could add in the system navigator. If you work in a nonprofit organization already serving family caregivers, you could add on the systems navigator training. So currently I do both. I train and I certify, and we're going to break that out so that my for-profit, the Caregiving Years Training Academy, holds all the training programs. And then a nonprofit called the Caring Board offers accreditation for programs. So I would split out. So how do you know if these programs are right for you? So I really encourage a personal or professional caregiving experience. Something that's important is to be open-minded and curious. Curiosity keeps us from judgment. Curiosity ensures that you're maintaining a relationship with your clients built on your client is teaching you. They're teaching you about their experience. And when you learn about their experience, you're able to personalize and tailor services and support that are right for that client. In addition, you want to have peace about your own experience. I had a conversation with one of our consultants. Her name is Jennifer, and she was sharing how she really wanted to add in our Comfort Care Family Coach training. And she kept dragging her feet. And she finally realized she was dragging her feet because she wasn't ready. She hadn't reached a point of having peace about her mom's death. And then it clicked for her. And I asked her, how did she know that she had peace about her caregiving experience with her mom? And she said she knew she was at peace when she was able to receive someone else's story without thinking about her story. I thought that was a great definition about how do we know when we're at peace about our caregiving experience. We're able to listen and fully be present to someone else's story without being caught up in our story. And you can see how important that is in serving clients to be fully present for them because you've put yours in the past. You have peace about it. Okay. So we do special events throughout the years and we have them all archived. So if you're interested in learning more about, again, our work, you can watch any of our archived events on our YouTube channel. We have a community called Caring Our Way. You can go to that community, join, and watch any of the events. And again, I'll share these slides so that you can read a little bit more about what people say about our programs. And we're doing some pilot programs. We have a direct care professional training that was developed by myself, Jennifer, who I just talked about, and two of our other CCCs. And we've taken the concepts that we use for family caregivers and applied them to help direct care professionals. We also have a training program for family caregivers that's called our Certified Family Care Manager Program. That includes instructions from our CCCs. And the goal with that program is to allow the family caregiver to have something on their resume that shows what they did during their caregiving experience. Okay, so if you're interested in programs that help you as a volunteer to work with family caregivers, the advocate, the facilitator, and the guide programs could be right for you. If you want to start a small business, it's our specialist, Comfort Care Family Coach, Consultant, and Educator programs. Okay, so I'd be happy to answer any questions any of you have about any of the programs, whether or not a program would be right for you. How do you know if it's the right program? So what do you think? And you're welcome to unmute or ask any questions in the chat.
Hi, this is Marilyn. I have a question about, is there any liability? Is there insurance that you have to take out when you're working with people and, license, especially, I happen to be an RN, but I'm retired. And I know, with malpractice and everything, working with clients. So I was curious in these particular titles.
Yes, so we're not clinicians, we're not
Right.
diagnosing a disease, we're not providing care.
Okay.
We are similar to life coaches, and life coaches will get their own liability insurance. So for instance, I have my own, our consultants will get their own. And in our consultant training program, for instance, we include some information about where to find liability insurance.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and as a nurse, you'd also want to check with your own, for instance, insurance provider, your own state, because you have certain licensing requirements that you're
Right,
going to meet.
right. Yeah, it
For
would
the
probably cover me, yeah,
yeah. And so for the programs that I've developed, again, we're not clinicians, we're not
right.
providing care, we're not diagnosing anyone. We are like life coaches, and liability insurance is the insurance that I encourage anyone who's gone through these programs to get.
Okay, okay.
Hi, this is Betsy. One question I had when you were talking about the certified caregiving consultant and the things that can involve, and then the virtual assistant. Are those roles? Do you ever see those roles combined, or do they tend to be mutually exclusive?
It's a great question because sometimes people like to start with the specialist program, which is a lower priced program, start to actually get clients, start to make money, bring in revenue, and then move into the consultant training. So that way you could do both. And if you do both, you're going to offer different services at different price points for your clients.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Something for everybody to keep in mind too is that sometimes people like to start with a lower level training program and then move their way up. And if you do something like that, I help you figure out how to move up. And then some people like to just dig in, start. So either way works. It really just depends on budget, time. I guess it would be budget and time. And I also think it's your capacity. What's your capacity right now? What's your capacity in 2024? So knowing that will help you decide what's the first good way to start. And I'm flexible. So if it works for you, it works for me.
Is there like a general, I know everybody's different based on their availability and capacity, but is there any guide, like a general guideline on how long each of these certification paths take?
Yep. So I break it out by hours.
Okay, perfect.
That's meant because of CEU approval, you have to break everything out by hours. So I always do it by hours.
That makes
So the
sense.
specialist training is about 20 hours. The consultant training has been approved for 75 hours. I would say it's a 2-month program. And that's the bronze level. And then the silver level, which includes the facilitator, the educator, and the consultant training, that's a 3-month program. And then the gold is. Does that help, Betsy?
I'm sorry, I have a barking dog. I
Oh,
apologize.
that's okay. That's okay.
I missed how long the gold was.
So that's 6 months.
6 months. Thank you.
Oh, sure. And then the Comfort Care Family Coach, that's 2 months.
Perfect.
And then the add-on programs such as the Caregiving Guide, the Resolution Specialist, and the Navigation Specialist, those programs are about a month. So you have archived training of the master classes you complete, and then you join me for live training. And that live training is about 6 hours. It's 3 hours over 2 days.
Got it. That's super helpful. Thank you. I guess if no one else has a question, another question I noted is, do you have consultants, or do you work with consultants that specialize in specific areas? For example, like I've just come out of a Lewy body dementia caregiving situation, and I find like that's a big gap in the world with people not having that knowledge.
Yep. So in the consultant training, we look at what's your specialty, what's your niche.
Okay.
So you could pick a specialty that is helping family caregivers whose Carrie has Lewy body dementia.
Got it.
You could even get more specific. You could say helping adult daughters who are caring for a parent with Lewy body dementia. You
Okay.
can get more specific and say adult daughters who are still working who are caring for a parent with Lewy body dementia. So you can, yeah, there you go. And you could even get more specific and say adult daughters with children at home who are still working, who are caring for a parent with Lewy body dementia.
Got it. You can get as specialized as you want. Got
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. We talk about this in the advocate training. One of the reasons that I encourage you to get a specific about it is that then when you tell someone about your work, they think, oh my gosh, I actually know someone in that situation. Do you have a business card?
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes if you say you support family caregivers, oh, how about that, right?
Right.
People just don't know, well, who is that and how and
Right.
why? But if you get specific, then people can think, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe it. That's my cousin. That's my
Mhm.
coworker. It just helps
Mhm.
you with the referrals. And then it
That
also helps you. I'm sorry, Betsy, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It also helps you with connecting with the clients that you feel comfortable and confident helping.
right.
In your marketing material, you can share your story. Your clients will be drawn to working with you because they'll think, she totally gets it. She's been
Mm,
through this. I don't have to explain to her what's going on, why my Carrie has these behavior challenges. She gets
mhm.
it.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, what's interesting is years and years ago, working with family caregivers was a niche. And now I think it's a broad a broad description of our work that when we get specific, we can really connect to clients that we want to work with.
Right. I mean, I'm at the company I work for. We actually, you mentioned earlier about companies having like resource groups, and we have a caregiving resource group that initially started as, working parents as caregivers. And I think I was one of the people who raised my hand and said, excuse me, what about those of us doing elder care? Hello, we're going bananas. And so, we have this program, and it's really interesting because the range of caregiving is wild, right? I mean, you have people with infants, you have some people in the sandwich generation, you have people with adult children that need lifetime care. You have folks trying to support their children who have autism. It's wild, right? It's vast. So I can see why the need for, kind of knowing what your niche is where you can really help somebody is important. Because I wouldn't be able to, speak with any knowledge on, oh, what it's like to have somebody with autism, right? Or how to support that. That hasn't been my experience. Um, and you can see through people who try to fake it, in my opinion.
Absolutely. 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 And it's why I developed programs that are about the caregiving experience that training program participants then use as a foundation to create their own specialty.
Sense. So, you mentioned that this, Medicare newly is going to be supporting care. That was so exciting to hear. um, and is there a specific you said they require a certification. Is there a specific certification that they require?
So in this webinar I attended yesterday, here's how they defined it. So they do say that in order to be considered a peer support specialist, you completed a training program that met core competencies as developed by the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Association. It's SAMHSA. I'm just not getting the
Yeah.
right, but they have 5 core competencies that they've developed that a training program for peer support specialists would have to meet. And we meet those core competencies.
So which of your programs meets those, or is it a combination of all of them, I guess?
It would be the consultant training and the comfort care family coach.
Okay. Excellent.
There's another piece of that Medicare will reimburse services provided by a community health worker, which I'm going to call community health professionals. We have to add in a few modules, and we'll do that in early 2024. And
Okay.
then you could be reimbursed as a community health professional or a peer support specialist.
Great.
And
That's
I'll,
exciting.
yes, can you believe it?
I
I mean, it's fabulous. And again, I think once Medicare starts to do it, it just opens the door for other insurance providers and payers to do it as well.
Yeah. And I think it might open the door for more corporations to see the need to maybe have people that, larger organizations could have these people, have employees that do this.
Yes,
Mhm.
I have long advocated for the idea that every organization needs a caregiving department with a caregiving leader,
Mhm.
a chief caregiving officer, whatever you want to call it. And
Yep.
it's separate than HR, but in that department, they help when an employee is thinking about taking FMLA, of
Right.
just trying to figure out how and when and what's required, what do I do? They can make an appointment with a staff member in the caregiving department to talk it out. When they are coming back to work after a family member's death, they get support from someone in that department about that return to work. When they are
Mm.
returning to work after their FMLA, they get support from that department. That department then offers employee resource groups, schedules workshops, schedules one-on-one sessions when an employee is like, I am so stressed out, I don't know what to do. They could meet with someone on staff that can help them.
What a dream.
Yeah. Here's
You
the
know?
thing. Right. Here's the thing that's so interesting. So I went to this conference on employee benefits, and it really was targeted to unions, which I didn't really realize, but it was still fascinating.
Mhm.
And there was a workshop about peer support specialists that I went to. It was packed. And in this workshop, there's a union in the state of New York that has hired peer support specialists for union members recovering from addiction. They've
Mm.
hired them. So it's what I just described, but
Right.
specific to addiction issues. And these peer support specialists came out of the addiction community. So if you're recovering from an addiction, you connect to someone who gets it, who understands what it's like. It's the same for us. So I think there is a road that's been paved for us that will really start to change
Yeah.
how
It's
and where we receive support.
it's all exciting. I think it's finally being recognized as a, people are just circling the drain, right? And they need support.
Absolutely. And we need more than just information and referral.
Mhm.
We need to connect to someone, to talk to someone, to have a relationship with a professional who understands, who gives guidance, who offers suggestions, who
Mhm.
allows the venting, who does not judge, who does not try to fix.
Right, right. Needs to be personal. Tying
Absolutely.
back to the whole thing about being seen, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any other questions that anyone else might have. And if everybody feels like they've got their questions answered, I actually will stop the recording, but ask those of you who have joined live to stay for a moment. I'll share the link to the advocate training that you can register to join in a couple weeks. It's free. It's free in November, and I'll share a coupon code for you guys too. Okay, and those who are watching the archive, thank you so much for watching. Okay.